from the bottom of our hearts, we are so thankful for your patience. That's right, it's game time. Let's send it up to our casters for game number 1. When you see us, we want to see W's because we're ready. It looks like the game is just about to kick off here. Let's jump into match number 1.
Part time. 40 minutes later.
All right, Fort Worth, here we have it. We are kicking things off here at the FNCS Global Championships. And of course, we know what is in store for us.
Already getting a close-up pay-per-view of what's taking place here with Queasy and Thomas. And you have to keep in mind, Duke's Sphinx not too far from this location here at Research Rock. Brawler's Battleground, I think, providing a decent opportunity for a little bit of early clashing potentially.
We'll talk about those early clashes. We already know what's going to happen here. It's Malibuka Murstache versus the Power Alex, the Power Worthy. First tags are going to go to Carmine Corpse Murstache, though.
Yeah, that was a big shot implemented there by Murstache. It's going to provide a lot of pressure as well, just enough for him to be able to group with Malibuka. They've already found a Flowberry Fizz. They're getting the shield online. Worthy and Alex know that they've got to be fast on these Avengers chests.
Yeah, and this is not the only contested team, right? There are going to be other fights happening here. Play close attention to what's going to go down, though. Power Alex and Worthy do have a little bit of a disadvantage here, playing the low ground as the standoff starts to develop. Meanwhile, a quad contested drop spot for Peterbot and Boyo, who have control of their side, where Trashy and Threat seem to be in a little bit of a head-to-head.
Well, hold that thought, though, because for a moment it seemed as if we were going to, potentially be dealing with Kazi and Aspect here, but I don't see them anywhere in sight, NDF. I think right now, Swizzy, Yapko, they're just trying to do what they can to prevent themselves from being the victims of Trashy and Threats currently, but also keep in mind what Peterbot was saying earlier on. That bot is always going to be ours. Emma Frost's Medallion and that Mythic Striker Burst, that's everything that they're after, and he's already collected it.
Wow, so Peterbot and Boyo already off to a great start here. Clearly, they have the advantage. Clearly, they even have the respect of the teams landing here not to step center foot into their location.
It's only a matter of time, though. As soon as that reveal Medallion actually procs, there's going to be 15 seconds that Swizzy, Yapko, Threats, Trashy, they're all going to be marked here at the raft. So escaping might not be the solution. They're going to have to fight their way out of this.
We've seen the interviews. We've seen, Trashy and Threat's perspective on this. They already know that they're going to have a problem with Swizzy and Japko, and that Peterbot and Boyo will just be waiting for their opportunity as the time continues to tick on. You can see they're doing just that, ready to possibly pounce here in the coming moments. But Vino and Clicks, y'all, are here, and they are indeed contested.
The moment these names lit up on screen, you can just hear the crowd going crazy. I mean, a clear fan favorite for good reason. And I think the most incredible part about it is just listening to Clicks talk about the fact, hey, we just found out a couple days ago, we are going to be contested. But for Damo and Resigns, you have to also factor in, this is familiarity for them. Sandy Steps has been their home as well.
Yeah, and this is a lot of respect coming from both sides. Clicks and Vino, of course, just feeling out the playing field right now, playing the outskirts, meaning that no team can, rotate from behind them, whereas Resigns and Damo are content with their side of the map. But Middle Eastern teams are on the set here. Haman and Cow Gamer now up against the likes of CZB and Nathan, who's underneath them.
And CZB and Nathan, I think, definitely one of those teams that I think a lot of people would view as that potential underdog story. But the interesting aspect is knowing that they are going to be contested here at Grand Glacier. And what we're seeing a lot of right now, the players that are just having these small, mild interruptions to their traditional loot paths, and what kind of dominoes effect that might have after the fact.
And also, just look at how many players are alive. This is about as intense as it can get when there's this much money on the line, when you have this much time, right, to wait, sit, contemplate your strategy. What are you gonna do when the call comes? You have to answer it. Chapentini here, pushing the pressure, pushing the conversation right now. Ager's not looking good for him. He's gonna be the first to fall, and that's one NA team down.
Bit of a tragic start there for Rise and Agers, but their downfall is Teeny and Chaps Uprising. Bound to be super happy with the elimination damage that they just secured there. Surge tags are always going to be so crucial And in a lobby like this, MDF, we know that we have so many heavy power hitter teams. That's going to be insane to think about. You have to connect on every single shot.
Well, here's someone who's going to do just that. Thomas HD doing an excellent job holding his high ground. He's got the angle down on the teams there in the distance. I saw Gone and Quanti as well, still at Mount Olympus. We know that they have that drop spot, not for free, but again, that southern side is theirs at the moment. Queasy and Thomas HD are going to be happy with these tags, right? This is the bigger picture of hyper-competitive Fortnite. It just doesn't get more difficult than this. Clearly, we have a lot to talk about when it comes down to Cammy and Seti. This is a team that is a favorite and a favorite for a reason, as is Vico and Flixie, some of Europeans' strongest coming up, and I dare to say part of the new era.
Sparks already starting to fly, though. Vico trying to see if he can get an overhead view onto Virgo and Shadow. A little bit of a wraparound. Virgo now trying to see if he can switch, but Shadow, he's left too exposed. Vico, Flixie, they take the opportunity. They try to collapse. A nice connection, but at the same time, Shadow still standing. Virgo knows it's time to bail. And they're going to force themselves into a disengage, but Flixie, he's not interested in that. Flixie wants more.
Oh, yeah, this is a storybook kind of conversation right here. This is something that we expect it to happen. If you're going to go up against the likes of Flixie and Vico's pathing, you just have to get out of the way or get ran down. And Virgo and Shadow are going to be another NA team to fall here to the hands of a European juggernaut. And, you know, this is, again, I have an inkling just to start for Flixie and Vico.
Hey, there's a big reason why these guys have Reckless Railways uncontested. You do not want to have to deal with some of those up-close and personal box fights early on, but Paper, Victor V, they've also found themselves in a little bit of skirmish here. Clone, alongside Kremzu, trying to make sure, but they've got to be careful. Look at the stealth opportunity here. Gone and Quanti, absolute ninjas.
They're getting really close here. A lot of danger lurking nearby, and Brazil, of course, known for what they're capable of when it comes down to jumping in and playing aggressive, and they do just that. But no, the ambush was unsuccessful. Paper, oh, so close, escapes by the skin of his teeth. Talking about Brazilian teams sneaking up. It's Persa and Ed also on the prowl right now.
Everybody just crouch walking up to all of the commotion that this box fight is bringing just outside northwest side of Mount Olympus here. And the most important aspect, though, Paper, you gotta respect that 180 turnaround, throws up the middle wall, makes sure to protect himself. But Persa, Ed, they've now found an opening, but it's gonna be cut short. Victor V, Paper, all these teams starting to congest here, and a surge base on top to boot.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Persa and Ed are recognizing we have to get in a fight. Like, whether we want to or not, Storm Surge is going to become an issue. And if you're unfamiliar what that means, when there's a certain amount of players alive, the game is going to force you to fight other teams. Damage will start to rain in the visual of lightning bolts and take you out the game if you're not being active.
The real thorn in the side right now, though, for Victor V and Paper is it's evident that they want to get inside of that bunker. Clone and Kremsu, though, they are doing everything in their power to prevent anyone else. They might find themselves trapped at the bottom of it for a time being, though, because keep in mind, teams do like to hold whenever they find duos inside of that bunker.
Quanti and Gone also setting up, looking back inwards, trying to see what's going to happen here. Meanwhile, Victor V and Paper really wearing the results of this drawn-out fight on their loadout right here. You can see ammunition starting to run low, builds even shorter than that. It's only going to be a matter of time before this starts to go super south, so if Paper and Victor V can't step up and finish this fight soon, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, but at this point, they have to find closure. There's no opportunity to retreat. You are all in at this stage. They've invested too much time, and they know that they need more surge tag damage as well. Clone, Kremzu, more than content to sit this one out, though, because the weapon bunker is sounding, and they're going to have the advantage once it opens.
Yeah, if they get to jump down there first and, of course, secure the goods, there's going to be a lot of loot that's going to be given out to Clone here shortly, but Paper and Victor V don't want that to happen. You can see how much more urgency, right, is put behind these shots now as they're trying to push in.
Clone, Kremsu, the opening has arrived.
No one winning
here.
that fight
Victor V,
so
Paper,
far.
They're still, I don't want to call it hesitant, but definitely wary of what awaits them when they try to catch Clone and Kremsu exiting that bunker. Malabuka Merstash, though, they've encountered some early difficulties here, it seems like, at Restored Reels. Last we checked in, they were getting a couple of decent tags onto Alex and Worthy, but now, knowing that Malabuka is in that solo position, it's gonna be tough to make his way towards a reboot van with this much traffic around him.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Look at Kanata and Cooper, though, on the move right now, trying to continue to find their way not only to the new zone, but play for this high ground, right? Looking for tags off in the distance, and very different strategy for Kanata and Cooper, where we see a lot of those other duos looking to get box-to-box fight, you know, very close quarter. They're keeping their distance almost exclusively now from other duos and other paths of duos.
But I really love this positional check, though, from Kanata and Cooper, because they've taken over a hill just northwest of Restored Reels, and they know all those duos that are far west on the map, far north, they're gonna have to rotate through Cooper and Kanata. Kanata is notorious for setting up surge bases in positions where you have ample opportunity to deal some damage to other teams.
Oh, look at this. This is the clash we all expected. Vino and Clix versus Oceania's Damo there, who just rotated by. They're going to be the first to get a couple of tags and start to get the lead here. You have to be really careful. Vino and Clix are going to recognize that if they stay in the storm, what's going to happen, those other teams are going to have strong positions to give them even more of a problem later. But it seems like they want to continue to press the action here.
Kashoro, though, kind of could get caught in the mix here. Not sure if Clix and Veno have spotted him out just yet, but Kashoro, the moment that he tries to break through, that's when Clix sees small opportunity to try and bounce in here. But again, MDF, this is getting a little bit more drawn out than maybe what Clix and Veno were after.
Yeah, because Andalix and Sato were still here. They thought it was just a solo, but now they walk into almost a spider's web here. Sato and Andalix do have heals as well, so they can kind of sustain themselves for quite some time, but I'm not sure how much Andalix has to work with. Meanwhile, the GOATs of the region, the kings of EU, the most consistent duo in the world when it comes to LAN performances in the recent years, are here.
Every view we pan over, it's like sharks in the water currently. The fact that Cammy and Seti have now decided to just stroll on over so casually, but they recognize there's no real openings for us to chase this one just yet. Let's prioritize our positioning and set, because they can always set up to intervene. Kashoro trying to do what he can to escape, but Vano's gonna shut that one down in no time. And his first elimination goes to Clix.
Vino's gonna be the first to claim it alongside Clix here for a big elimination, and that's gonna set themselves off in the right pace here. Still, pay attention on the other side. Kanata and Cooper, completely opposite situation now. As we talked about them keeping their distance, Visual and Braids are gonna step up to the plate. Let's see if they can hit this swing at bat, but nothing just yet.
Something important to consider, though, Visuals and Braids, this is our duo that came in at the final hour. Just last night, they discovered that they were going to be participating on the global stage. What's their prep time look like in comparison to everyone else?
That's why.
But more importantly still, Braids, he's trying to make sure that he brings the fight to Cooper and Kanata. They're not willing to fold. A couple of armored walls already expended from both sides as well. Kanata's still able to find the shots that matter, though. And him and Cooper doing a decent job at just trying to forcibly create space.
And this is not just any backup duo here. This is a team that is very much tenured and familiar with one another. They, in fact, have duoed with each other throughout the year. So, again, not your regular backup team. This is a very, very scary team to be fighting right now, and a huge opportunity like this is not going to be taken for granted. And you can see the fact that they forced these great players to use their armored walls tells a lot. Let's jump in with Merstash and Malabuka here, though, as the Storm Surge is effectively active now. Great place to be rotating through here at the Grim Gate, but I'm not too sure, even after being picked up, if Merstash is going to have a chance to really get back into the swing of things, as the Rift Island's already gone up, and we already know
Someone
who's playing.
Kill him.
Peterbot and Poyo did not even wait a moment's notice. As soon as the Rift Island spawned in, these two were prepped and ready to go. Peterbot already taking advantage, putting some pressure onto teams that are just trying to rotate at the bottom of Rift Island. You know, teams like to try and utilize some of those rifts along the bottom, but again, when you have a team like Peterbot and Poyo, and they're not the only ones lurking either, Trashy and Threats as well, making their presence known. But keep in mind, Poyo Peterbot, they've got that reveal medallion.
Yeah, they're going to be able to scout them out in just a couple of moments here. So Trashing and Threats will have a big problem here. The hold up, King and Phaser talk about problems, are pushing down into the EU duo. Now, there's something that we know about King is that he's not someone you want to face in a box fight. What he's managed to do all throughout this week is instill fear into every duo. He has challenged players in the practice rooms back to back and has been the most successful.
But the way that you're mentioning that, it's all about the solos, and this is a duos game here, MDF. King trying to see if he can get a little bit of revenge damage onto Reason or Badil, but currently, Germans, they're the ones holding height, and King, he's gonna have to start burning through some of these small shield potions, and the real issue is once those shields crack, Badil, Reason, more than close enough to hear it, but they also need the damage, so the key is inevitable.
Yeah, both sides are extremely aware that this is a fight for Surge right now, and should King's team get a tag, the Surge is gonna flip. They are the team quite literally above them, and it doesn't really get much closer than this, and this is the most opportunistic time for King to take down a duo here. But Reason, there it is. Opportunities start to shift here. Reason and Badil now. Pressure starts to loom on them.
Craziest part to think about too is that they've still got to watch their backs because Rift Island just lurking in the distance, slightly higher elevation than themselves. Peterbot Boyle, they were definitely trying to see if they could track down anybody for some additional tags, knocks, elims, ideally, but one of these teams has got to get a go on here, MDF. They can't afford to just sit idle. It's either fight or get eliminated.
Here it comes. I'm seeing two shots coming from both sides. Reason goes for it first. Vadiel on the other side doing an excellent job, but a trade comes out. King's weak, and he's going to be the first to fall. Reason and Vadiel come out on top, and even then, it's just enough to stay alive for now.
Crazy though when you think about how many teams are getting caught inside of these box fights, inside of the storm itself. Mustache, Malabuka, they're just on a recovery tour currently, and it's incredible to think that they're still 156 above that damage threshold, despite that hiccup of Malabuka having to make the reboot van play in the first place. Wax and Ping though, they seem like they're primed and interested potentially, but instead it's just going to be heading to the top of Rift Island. Malabuka might get chased though, he wants more damage.
Little does he know though, there is Trashing and Threats up here. Team Xset right now, still lurking nearby. I'm very curious as to why they haven't gone yet. And we might just find out here soon if they end up opening the box and taking fire, but no, Malabuka takes flight first. And he's gonna get pretty far off. Will it be enough,
no
Taco?
way.
It's not looking like the math is gonna math here, as Malabuka's gonna be the first to fall. He tries to get as far as possible. Mustache will have to land on him and save him now.
The problem though is that we're looking at 2 tick zones currently, Monster. Mustache, he can try his best effort, but I fear he might meet a similar fate because even if he makes it into this next edge of zone, he's still gonna have to deal with all the teams that are already based up, situated, and ready to take advantage of the players that are late straggling in.
Take a look at this refresh from Vino and Clicks now, as they managed to find themselves a little bit of a cachet from some leftover action between Casper and Prism. Prism now not being in this fight. And still, you have OCE's Damo and Resigns almost on this warpath with them, continuing to be that thorn in their side, if you will, for lack of a better phrase. But back on over to the focus here as Clicks is looking for action here. Those are his walls. It's Acorn, it's Cold on the other side. A very scary team to go against. In the warm-up games yesterday, in the scrims, right, in our practice lobbies, they pulled off a incredible 16 eliminations just to show the lobby what they're capable of.
The real issue is just knowing that for Clicks and Venno, Clicks, he just needs some white heals. And you're not going to get that at this stage unless you're able to take down another team successfully. Mustache and Malabuka, though, have pulled off a miracle at this point. And it does seem, even though they're a little bit worse for wear, they're battered for sure, but they're still kicking, and that's all they need at this stage.
They do have big shields as well to work with. That headshot that he picks up right there is going to make a huge difference there as far as their survivability is concerned. Major eliminations are happening, though, as we're covering the action here. One of those, it's Peterbot and Boyle staying active here. Down goes Cheats from the high ground there. And they are doing what we expect of them. Very healthy, extremely material capped, and now picking up points. That's a runaway train potentially starting to take form.
Yep.
Meanwhile, other teams like Putty and Kovacs, just trying to see if they can find an angle. Yuma Rise under a little bit of duress here, but it's back to Clix. Veno trying to see if they can finagle their way out of this awkward position that they found themselves in, boxed up right next to Acorn and Cold. But again, Acorn and Cold, they've got decent amount of materials to work with. More importantly still, though, I think that they are certainly willing to jump into a fight if it calls for.
Oh yeah, yesterday has absolutely proven that they can take on any team without a problem. Talk about good teams that are still standing right now, teams that we've been kind of following the story. Victor V and Paper. Paper a little worse for wear. Seems like a bad peek's gonna go ahead and put him on the backside of this engagement here. And Vino facing the struggles of taking a lot of damage here as well, and not being able to recover now as they don't have whites.
Still has a couple of flow berries, but again, will that really be enough? Queasy, Thomas HD now starting to surface as well near their area. Ritual, though, takes some big tags, left that wall open just a moment too long. But Ritual, free, come on, coming out of Doomstad. They gotta be dealing with Epic Oil and Muzz early on. The fact that this dude already has 3 elims is rather impressive, but Malabuka as well, still holding his own. Shari's got a little bit of an angle peak advantage, so Malabuka's gonna look to try and see if he can find a more aggressive push from underneath. Meanwhile, Mustache, again, just trying to make sure he doesn't take another tick from the storm, but it's too little too late. Just barely makes it in. At least Malabuka can go for the revive.
You know, all things considering, he'll have more HP when he stands up than he did when he went down, so
Fair.
It's not all too bad here, but it is definitely time lost. The surge is active. They need to find a couple tags. Into the box they go. Back behind him is another duo as well, and if he doesn't hit this shot, he's going to be sent back to the lobby, and he hits the one that matters. Malabuka and Mustache are clawing their way out of this hole here, and unfortunately, it might not be enough here. It's so close.
Malabuka is doing everything in his power, but right here, they have finally met their end. Zero business making it that far in the first place, though, but that is the kind of power that Malabuka and Mustache can bring.
Well, here's a couple things to celebrate. Placement points has been reached. We are inside the top 25. Anyone alive now is going to start to be rewarded with more and more points. This is where things start to almost compound for you, so you want to stay up. Vino is down right now. Clix has a very important decision to make here. Do you save your best mate or let him get sent back to the lobby so you can just focus in now? Seems like he wants to go for the save. Armored Wall's going to be the saving grace here for a moment, though. Instead, Vino makes the call. Leave me. Continue to play the game here.
Veno knew there was just way too much pressure coming from the other side of that wall. A fully intact duo, and that duo being Queasy and Thomas HD. There's just no realistic opportunity for Clix to bring that one back. But Queasy, he's actually looking a little hurt here. He might have been desperate at that point, and Clix finds himself in a similar situation. Only has small shield potions to rely on, 2 below. When it comes to the damage threshold, he's got to make a move, and he's got to do it now. But I don't think anybody's giving him an opening.
Well, he's still inside the top 20 now. The more teams that fall, this would be excellent for Clix here. He just has to hold on a little bit longer, and he is doing just that. A little bit of a zone pull towards his side, more or less. But High Ground has Cammy and Seti looking from up above, and it has never looked better for this duo.
Kadu and Sia having already been eliminated. And again, reconvening with Clix's
oh my god
POV, but Clix,
wow.
he's just crazy with the movement. The
How
fact that he managed to
the
escape,
fuck
still
is
alive.
it?
still
He's
hustling.
clutching almost a top 15 now, and he's inside the top 15. Could he make a top 10? It's so close, and down he goes to the hands of Peter Bot. He takes him down. Peter Bot is also a solo.
It could have been anybody in this circumstance, but of course it had to be Peter Bot. But take a look at the high ground, Chapentini. And they're looking for even more still. 5 eliminations already built up here, Monster. And they've got a really strong grasp on this high ground.
What an incredible view for Chapentini. This is coming off the mountain here. Seti seems to have lost his teammate now. Has to do this on his own here, but still. Anything can happen.
Why
but
no
Mustard
one up
everywhere
here?
inside the box, inside the lane. He's throwing armored walls down. That's going to buy him a little bit of time. Excellent plays here from Seti. No time to play with this storm, though. He just cannot afford it.
Seti's doing everything he can to try and scale his way up this mountain face, but things are just going to get all the more vicious the higher he climbs. The more pressure he might encounter. Muzz is going to find himself in a sticky situation. Peter Bot goes huge there, though, off the Seti.
8 eliminations eliminations now for Peterbot and Boyo here. Peterbot still going, nearly finding another one there. Just moments away now from a top 5 here. Can he do it as a solo? He's getting spotted out though. Armor wall comes down. Another weak player in front of him. He didn't get the tag. Not coming out. It was so close. But now the focus comes into who will win game 1. We have just 4 teams remaining. Make that 5. Acorn and Cole find another.
Duke simply too sabotage, losing his duo Sphinx there to Peterbot, but Acorn and Cole, the fact that they are still intact, 5 armored walls as well to work with here for Acorn. Chapentini, though, they're trying to see if they can look for an opportunity to collapse. Vico, Flixie off in the distance as well. The mid-ground starting to really pile up here.
Well, look at this. High ground starting to run out of material. Vico and Flixie, this is the pick for me. The team that I knew, you leave them uncontested. They're just going to put in dangerous work here on the field, and it is starting to shape up. Acorn and Cold, and a saving grace on the low ground, on the outskirts, putting pressure onto Japan's best. Rise and Yuma, who also has 7 eliminations. Yuma sends up against Acorn, finds a beautiful tag there. Loses his teammate, though, finds another exchange. It's back and forth here. Anything can still happen.
All these teams scurrying in the low ground, though. They're sabotaging each other. Acorn's gonna go down. Yuma still standing tall, but now Chapentini from the high ground, they're just gonna collapse, and that is just another elimination to add to the count. Vico, Flixie versus Chapentini. It's a battle of Europe.
A battle for the ages indeed here. 5 eliminations still for Teeny and Chap. Things are starting to rack up. Teeny, the first to go down. Chap's also weak. They jump in. They close the game. And game number 1, the victory royale will go to Chap and Teeny.
Could it be more deserved? The way that they held down that high ground MDF, you could tell that they were aiming exclusively for the victory royale at this stage. But granted, you have to keep in mind, there's somebody on the ground that can help out even more so.
Dallas, would you please give it up for your Game 1 winners? Chapentini, do you want to step up for me here, fellas? So everyone can see your glorious faces. Let's kick things off here. What a great start. I mean, you guys, obviously, game 1, a lot of pressure, bit of waiting around the beginning, but in front of these fans. To walk us through the end game, how did things pan out for you guys?
Good. We're the best players, so it's easy.
Best players, easy. I mean, I love the confidence there. For you as well there, I mean, your teammate here, you guys worked to get Vico and Flixie in the last seconds there. You had the high ground. Is that what really counted there?
Of course, we're only playing for height, and that's how you win games. That's it.
Coming into this competition, obviously a lot of expectations, things that might happen. Did things pan out in that first game as you thought they might, or was it very different?
It was different. We took forecast, and then we just played out.
Those forecast towers are playing a very pivotal in this as well. How important are those in the rest of this competition with 11 games left to go?
The most important thing, if you get that, you win the game. It's easy.
Would you please give it up one more time for your Game 1 winners? Chapentini, everyone! Oh, things have started beautifully here. There is loads more coming your way here, courtesy of the FNCS Global Championships 2024. A short break from us here on the broadcast, but do not go anywhere. Stay exactly where you are. There's loads more coming your way very, very soon.